Ready?
We were recently sent this question. In the sentence, there were small slivers of wood all over the carpet. What is the sentence function and the part of speech of the word there? So, this is a surprisingly complex question. We spent about 3 hours looking this up and going to different sources, and we've come up with two possible answers. So, there, the word there is normally an adverb because it answers the question where. If you were to ask where is the car is there. So it's an adverb. So, if that is true in this sentence, then the part of speech would be an adverb. And in the sentence, it now functions as what's called a locative complement. Let me explain that. The sentence is actually what's called an inverted structure. Normally in a sentence, the subject comes first and then the verb. In this case, that's all been inverted. If the subject came first, it would read, small slivers of wood were there all over the carpet. So then it's easy to see that slivers is the subject and were is the verb and there is something else. So because were is usually a linking verb, then the there would become some kind of complement. But it's not actually a subject complement because it doesn't replace the subject. Slivers and there are not the same thing. So what it does is it says where those slivers are. So it becomes what's known as a locative complement based on the word location. It tells the location of the subject. The slivers of wood are there all over the carpet. So if that's true, then we have this adverb, and in the sentence it's a locative complement. And you have your typical linking verb structure of subject, linking verb, complement. So if the sentence weren't inverted. Another theory that we found is that the word there can sometimes be an expletive. In grammar, an expletive is any word that has a function but no real meaning in a sentence. So in this case, you can tell that there has no real meaning in the sentence because if you take it out, the sentence says exactly the same thing. Small slivers of wood were all over the carpet. So you don't need the there unless you invert the sentence structure. So in that case, if there is an expletive, then in that case, the verb becomes, thank you, the verb becomes intransitive instead of a linking verb. And we've all been taught that the to be verbs are just linking verbs. That isn't always the case. They're almost always linking verbs. Every once in a while you have this situation where a to be verb becomes an intransitive complete verb. So it doesn't need a direct object, making it intransitive, and it's complete all by itself. So now we have our parts of sentence. So now we have an expletive.
No, you don't put anything there.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just the intransitive complete.
Right.
I don't know how we're going to write that. I-C-V?
IV complete. There we go. How about that? And then our subject. And then, of course, we've got some prepositional phrases going on, one of which describes the slivers of wood and one of which answers the question where again, so it's adverbial.
So if we think it's a linking verb, just to recap, if we think it's a linking verb, then this becomes the part of the sentence.
The locative complement.
And if we think it's an intransitive complete, then this becomes an expletive, not an adverb.
Right.
And how we want to teach this to kids, we haven't yet decided.
But
that's the answer.
There you go.